For the past 180 days, the only people who have believed in the Denver Broncos are the players and coaches in that locker room and us diehards who followed the team and know that this young and hungry team is dangerous and has something special cooking. Well, all that is starting to change as the NFL just made a bet on your Denver Broncos, and I am here for it. In this video, we're going to break down the bet that they made, why that's a great sign about the narrative around the Broncos changing, why I think November is going to be a fantastic month for Bo Nix and this Denver Broncos squad. If you're new to this channel, I'm Ben. I'm a diehard Denver Broncos fan who's been saying that the ceiling for this team is 11 and the floor is 9. And it's like, man, all of the advanced analytics are showing that the Denver Broncos are a 9-win team. Like, that's the overall prediction right now, which is drastically different than it was just a few months ago when they were saying, like, we'd be lucky to squeak out 5. So let's dive into this. So you do not need me to remind you that the Denver Broncos have had the D and F crew on every single game, really, for the past 8 years. That's like, you know, you get the play-by-play announcer who's just butchering names. How many times did we hear Albert Okwuegbunam's name just massacred and dragged through the mud and no one could say it right? I could go on and on about all the names they didn't know, or a player catch a ball and they can't even say it. They don't even know who it is because they don't cover this team. They fly in and they just like look at the roster sheet one time before they go. They know nothing about this team. Well, that changed as the Denver Broncos have the A crew calling their game against the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday. Now, the Baltimore Ravens Broncos should be a primetime game, but each team in the NFL is only allotted 6 primetime games, and both the Baltimore Ravens this week and the Chiefs the week after already have their total number of primetime games that they've hit, so they cannot technically be flexed into having another one. It's against some of the league rules there. You just look at how disrespected this Broncos team is in that we truly only have one primetime game, which is against the Browns on a Monday night football game. And then we got the obligatory Thursday night game that every single team has. But the fact that this Broncos team was left off of primetime, there were a lot of years where with Russell Wilson, we had tons of primetime games and we totally disappointed. And so the NFL kind of went back and was like, hey, I don't think this team's going to be any good. Don't give them any primetime slots. Well, now they can't flex us into it this week or next week against the Chiefs. But I think this is fantastic news that they put their A squad, their play-by-play guy, Tony Romo, Jim Nantz. That's not a great thing. Tony Romo drives me crazy. Like, we'll get a lot of, Jim, look at that. Jim, just look at that, Jim. Look at what he did there. So that's going to drive us all nuts, but at least we are finally getting some respect put on our names by a national media in CBS, putting their A crew on this team because this is something special cooking in Denver. It has been a long time since we have had the A crew here, and we are the Detroit Lions from several years ago, a team that went from nothingness to all of a sudden we are a playoff caliber team and a team that nobody is going to want to face in the playoffs. So you're seeing more and more national guys come out and be like, hey, y'all might want to start paying attention to the Denver Broncos here. James Palmer, who's kind of like Denver adjacent. He's done a lot of work for DNVR, but is definitely more of a national name than he is a Denver name. All this talk has been lumped into Jaden Daniels and them being him being the rookie of the year. And he came out and was like, you know what? Rookie has actually had the best October. It's Bo Nix. And what have we said here all along from the jump is that Bo Nix is going to learn more and more pages of this playbook are going to be open to him. It's like he's unlocking levels like a character in a video game. And now the tight end chapter just got open this week, and we're going to take a look at Bo Nix's passing chart here and just how early on in the season, you see all that he was using was the sidelines. That wasn't because of an inability from him. That was how Sean Payton had game planned it. And now Bo Nix has unlocked a totally different level, and you're seeing him being back in the talk for Rookie of the Year there. Seeing Chase Daniels, who played the position, has coached the position, is an analyst for the position, come out and just be like, hey, I don't care that was the Carolina Panthers. They got Josie Jewell back. They got Jadeveon Clowney back. They have a great corner who was on Sutton all day, who got lit up, and Bo Nix looked dang good against the Carolina Panthers. He is going to be breaking this down, but him saying this Denver Broncos team is sneaky good. And every time I use the word sneaky good in a title, people are like, that's clickbait. Well, it's not clickbait. It's the truth, bros. Like, we are a good team, and this is awesome. So looking at just how good Bo Nix played in the month of October and knowing that one of those games was against the Chargers, who a fantastic defense in the Chargers. And had Bo Nix had one more quarter, we would have beat the Chargers. Then going on the road and playing the Saints, who have a decent defense against the pass in a short week. And then to do this against the Carolina Panthers, there are no layups in the NFL. And we're about to show the Ravens that there's no layups in the NFL because we're going to take them by storm. But if you take a look at the quarterbacks in the month of October, Bo Nix, despite the fact that he played tougher opponents than Caleb Williams, he still is number one when it comes to his total passes. He's still number one when it comes to his touchdown to interception ratio, the number of yards he threw in the air, the number of rushing touchdowns that he had, and the number of wins. He's tied for winning 3 games. And I'm telling you, man, if we had one more quarter, that would be 4 wins in the month of October. As mentioned, here is his passing chart, and you just see that this is where you see that Sean Payton was right to move on from Russell Wilson, that this is a passing chart that we have not seen in Denver in several seasons, where you're utilizing the entire field, and we truly don't even have the offensive weapons that Sean Payton wants around Bo Nix, and that was made abundantly clear in his post-game press conference that he was let down, and he's like, yeah, I'm really excited about how Bo looked, but the question we have is, do we have enough around Bo? And so we have a ton of cap space coming up. We have all of the picks in next year's draft. We're going to be getting compensatory picks because there's no way we're going to be hanging on to Stidham and Zach Wilson and Cooper and Brown. Like, we're going to have to lose one of those players. And by doing so, we're going to get compensatory picks. And so I just think Sean Payton got the quarterback he wants, and just wait till he has cap space to get the talent around him that he wants. It's going to be wild, guys, that we're going to make the playoffs this year, and it's not going to be a one and done thing. We are back to being the Broncos that we all grew up on, which is like the playoffs are just penciled in every year. Don't even tune into Sports Talk Denver until the month of January, because that's when this truly is going to start for this team. So you just look here that, well, like we said, that Bo Nix was going to start slow because he's playing against a defensive coordinator in Seattle, the new coach that nobody had any film on, and then he plays against the Pittsburgh Steelers at home, who's a swarming defense that's terrifying. And so, yes, he had a rough couple weeks there. And then the Jets game in a monsoon when the ball's wet, and he played better than Aaron Rodgers, yet everyone is using the analytics from those numbers to paint their picture of who Bo is. Just wait, you guys, because you're going to see him with Romo and Nantz, and everyone's going to be like, oh, so when Sean Payton laughed and said, I tricked everyone into getting Bo Nix, this is why that happened. And so you just look here, weeks 3 through 8, Bo Nix, 11 touchdowns, 1 interception. That 1 interception was off a tip ball. Not the best throw to Marvin Mims in that Chargers game. But truly, I think a different wide receiver pulls that down, and it's not an interception, and you're just off to the races at this point. I think you are starting to see that Bo Nix is getting comfortable, and not just kind of comfortable. He's getting really, really comfortable, and that should be a terrifying thing for the teams that we're going to play from here on out, because we already know our defense is showing up each and every week, and if our quarterback, like his starting right tackle, is really, really comfortable, watch out, baby, because this is going to be an amazing month for the Denver Broncos as we go on the road. Time to even the score with the Harbaugh brothers. We lost to one of them. We're about to beat another one this week, and the Denver Broncos are going to make the playoffs, and that's something that we can all believe in.